Good afternoon. Welcome to my new channel, my video game channel. I have a couple other channels. One is Quick Flip Easy Ship. It's for reselling on eBay. Check it out if you're interested. The other one is Backyard Chickens, where I film my chickens showing off and do vlogs on my chickens. There's links onto the side of those channels if you're interested. What I was telling the audience on my eBay reselling channel, Quick Flip Easy Ship, is that collecting video games and being a reseller as a hobby, that can be tough to do both. The reason why is when you're collecting, you're out there, I'm sourcing items to sell on eBay, and then I come across the video games that I want to collect. However, if I get those video games at a good price, I look at, thousands of dollars worth of video games on my wall, and I'm like, man, I could sell these on eBay easily and make decent cash. So it's tough not to get tempted to sell your collection. But I'm gonna start collecting again. In the background, you can probably see I have a small stack of NES. I got a little over 50 titles again. A really small amount of Super Nintendo, maybe 30, 40 Nintendo 64 cartridge games, and a few Sega Genesis, and a few, maybe 20 so Game Boy. Honestly, my primary focus, I think, will be just Nintendo, Super Nintendo, with Game Boy and a little Sega Genesis. The reason I decided to start my channel now is because I went to the thrift store today for eBay sourcing and actually found some Nintendo and Sega Genesis. So anyways, I go in there and I'm doing my eBay sourcing, and I see some Nintendo and Sega well, first I just see Sega, and it's sports titles, and I'm like, oh man. But then I see a couple of Nintendo games. And so all the Sega Genesis games were sports titles, and they're all $2.95 a piece. A lot of them had manuals and were clean enough to where I could have picked them up for collection, but I just didn't want to spend all that money on a bunch of sports Sega Genesis titles today. So I just picked what was left of what was the cream of the crop of what was the scraps. Because unfortunately I talked to talking to the cashier, I'm like, I bet somebody came already through here this morning and looked through these. And sure enough, she said, yeah, there was a guy that came in and he bought 10 Sega Genesis games and 2 Nintendo games. So that tells me that he picked out all the good stuff and left what's left over. But anyways, what I got was enough to lift my spirits and give me, show that there is a little bit of hope in collecting. Every once in a while you'll find something. Generally, my collecting comes from winning auctions on Goodwill. That's, to me, at this point in time, pretty much the only realistic way if you want to get any kind of deal, when it comes to everyday trying to collect video games, is Goodwill auction, filter to your local store for local pickup, and see what you can find. Anyways, enough jabbering. Here we go. So I found these were all $2.95. I got Win, Lose, or Draw. Yay, I know, right? Not nothing crazy, but hey, it had the sleeve. It's a clean labeled Nintendo game in the thrift store, so I can't complain. Second title, a little bit better. We got Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2. Again, label and everything's looking pretty good. Came with the official Nintendo sleeve, so that's good. So, lastly, I saw this. The box to Road Blasters. Okay condition. It's got a rip right here. And don't you love it how they put stickers on everything, right? So I opened it up, and what was inside was Star Wars for the 32X. Fine. And also the instruction booklet to that Win, Lose, or Draw game that I already showed you. So I was like, yeah, for $2.95 I'll get it. Just because it's a Nintendo box, and sure, I don't mind picking up Star Wars for the 32X and the manual. So I know that's quite small for a pickup video, guys, but this is just kind of getting started. I'll also include in this video, I guess, just a quick, brief overview of my collection to show you where I'm starting out with. So my intent this time is to not resell any of my video games and start a collection and keep going with it. and seeing how far we can get. And I'll update you with pickups and as I go. Alright guys, so here's my collection right now. I think it's around 54 with a couple more I just gonna add today. Nothing crazy yet. I got a 5-screw Zelda, I got a 5-screw Metroid, I got all the Marios, Fazanadu, got what else? I got Little Nemo Dream Master, Double Dragon 1, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, 1942's in there, Tiny Toons, and I got Tecmo Super Bowl. It's actually going up in price, I guess. I don't know what they do with it. I guess they still play it. I have Miss Pac-Man, the Tengen version. So, I mean, nothing of great note yet, but, you know, it'll get there. Starting over. So here I got a small stack of Nintendo 64. Nothing really to brag about there. They're all just mainly common titles. Same goes with Super Nintendo. The Lion King is probably the best one in there. Game Boy, yeah, I got about maybe 20 games of note. I've got Xenon 2 that's probably my most expensive game in my entire collection right now. Xenon 2 with the manual. I got the manual for Xenon 2 as well. And I got a Super Game Boy back there, and that's about it. So I'm starting from scratch again, basically. At one time I had an pretty insane collection. I had a lot of good Super Nintendo titles, you know, Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, Super Metroid, all that stuff, Super Castlevania 4, Turtles in Time. I had some decent Nintendo. I had Dragon Warrior 4, Faria, and just all the Zeldas, all the, you know, Castlevanias, Super Marios that you can think of for Super Nintendo and everything like that. So